And basically neither of us was going to dominate the other, so we were in a stalemate. So we met in Rhode Island in a pub, and on the back of a coaster we designed the 49er.
Since its birth, the 49er has shaken the sailing community to its grassroots, the world's best crews flocking to test their mettle at the edge of the performance spectrum. 2 years later, the Olympic Committee jumped aboard.
When we initially drew on the coaster, there was no intention of an Olympic class. I mean, that wasn't even thought about. I mean, technically the boat that replaced the Olympics is the Flying Dutchman, which is a bit sad actually, because it was an old, regal, elegant boat, whereas the 49er is very brash and very out there. A lot of people make the analogy of a sports car with a throttle jammed wide open. It has the potential, when the wheels grab, to absolutely rocket you in a direction which you may not be quite prepared for.
So back on the water, where will the race be won and lost?
You're going to see a lot of jockeying at the start line.
Usually, you know, one guy is a couple boat lengths ahead off the start, and by the finish he's 20 boat lengths ahead. That's because everyone behind him is sailing in dirtier air.
When we're sailing in a straight line, you can look at quarter boat lengths and half boat lengths, and we take 2 or 3 minutes in a straight line to eke out a quarter boat length, and when we have a good jibe we can make up 1 boat length or 2 boat lengths. So I guess you can say boat handling and jibing well and tacking well, you can make great gains doing that.
Jibing can be very, very hard work on these. Very, very tippy if they slow down at all, so the trick is to do any manoeuvres fast.
When you're straight dead downwind, so when you're about halfway through the turn, that's when things can get really out of control.
Most of the times, you know, you've got to turn waist through 180 degrees, got to grab a different trapeze wire, hang on to that, hang on to the sails at the same time, hook up, steer the boat, watch for competitors, watch the breeze, don't hit a wave. There's, you know, many things that needs to be done through each manoeuvre.
It's about 4 steps, and you just get used to those 4 steps and, you know, do them as fast as you can, hit your wire and get out there and go.
Windward mark, you're going to be looking for very, very fast spinnaker sets.
It's all on for the crew. It's to hoist the spinnaker, and the one rope pulls the spinnaker up and also the spinnaker pole out. So there's quite a lot of load on it, and the faster you do it, the quicker you get going. So that's quite an important thing, and it's quite hard physically for the crew.
The new generation of high-performance skiffs had arrived.
I think most thinking countries realise this is the future. Some of them don't want the future to come that fast, but they accept the fact that it has to come.
The boys are getting ready to go. Looks like they got the course set nice and close, so all the spectators will have a good look at what's going on. You can sense that there's a lot different atmosphere now. The boys are serious. It's game on.
Nicholson and Boyd's domination of the qualifying round earns them the psychological advantage entering the business end of the draw. With 9 counting races still to run, the contest remains wide open.
The course has been brought much shorter, so you should expect some really fast laps. Far more emphasis now on crew work. And the breeze is it's a beautiful 15 knots, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
As the horn blew for race 1, the fleet splintered off the start line, hoping to predict the wind shifts and find the best approach to the windward mark. It was America's East Coast duo of Tim Wadlow and Pete Spaulding that took the high line to round the buoy in first. Bearing down on their tiller were the Japanese, with Kenji Nakamura at the helm. Uncharacteristically, Nicholson and Boyd found themselves lost in the pack, trailing in 6th at the first mark. The short course was punishing mistakes, but Nicholson played it smart to weave his way through the fleet, and by lap 3 they found themselves pressuring Nakamura for second. It was the Americans who secured the convincing win.
We love this short course racing. It gets us going. As you can tell, I'm out of breath. You gotta make the right calls, and your boat handling has to be right on. Otherwise, you get into trouble.
A fierce competitor, Nicholson left nothing to chance in race 2, hitting the start line with full sail. It was plain sailing from then on, as he drew out boat lengths on the remaining fleet, with only the Japanese able to stay in touch. The last race of the morning session showed the Americans in rhythm once more as they dominated the windward mark. Nicholson proved hard to shake as he hung in for second place and a 1-point lead on Wadlow. Following a slow start in the qualifiers, things could not have been rosier for Wadlow and Spalding. Until heading in for lunch, the tide literally turned.
We were just on our way in. As I'm pulling the board up, we ran up on the reef. Basically, the back of the centerboard acted as like a knife and sliced the back of the trunk in the boat. We're going to have to dry it out as best as we can and put some epoxy in there. Might have to miss our lunch, but other than that, we'll be all right.
There was also trouble at the top for Turnbull and Partridge, who found themselves carrying a disastrous 5th, 6th and 7th from the opening races.
Yeah, not good at all. So 3 shitters. So how many drops do we get? 1 or 2, or hopefully 3, but yeah, take it on this afternoon. Sailing, even at an Olympic level, you definitely don't do it to make money or as a career. You spend 4 years training for effectively one event.
Mark Turnbull, one of the most amiable guys in sailing, is no stranger to success. In the 2000 Sydney Olympics, he became the first Australian sailor to lift the gold medal in over 28 years.
I was lucky that I teamed up with a guy called Tom King, and it never crossed my mind that we shouldn't be able to win a medal. From a competitor's point of view, the last race pretty much summed it up. It was 11 races for the series, and we'd secured the silver medal, and to lose the gold medal, the Americans had to beat us by 5 places. And we were in fact in front of the Americans for the first 5 minutes of the race, then had a bad shift and dropped back to 17th, I think, and they were in first place, so it wasn't looking good at all. Normally if you're in 17th place, the best you can get up to is maybe 11th, but we ended up catching up to 10th after the first lap, and then up to 5th, and then on the last lap we actually crossed in front of the Americans right near the shore, and it was just amazing. From that point we had the moral victory. They ended up winning the race, and we followed them in second, but it was good enough for the gold. Pretty amazing just to hold it.
I was up in Sydney when he won. You'd think you'd be a little bit jealous or something, but it was the most amazing thing to see a mate up there winning a medal. It was awesome.